One of the main organisers of the September protest marches in Burma is a monk who escaped to Thailand last week by carrying a false ID card, dyeing his hair blonde and wearing a crucifix. He's been talking of his harrowing escape and providing insights into what has remained a central question about the September protests: who organised the orderly lines of saffron-robed monks who marched through Rangoon, the main city of Burma, or Myanmar, as some now call it.
Ashin Kavida is the monk who almost brought an army to its knees. This devout young man has sought refuge in Thailand after leading last month's huge protests in neighbouring Myanmar, formerly Burma. He pitted his Buddhist faith against the military regime, but the uprising was brutally snuffed out by the army. The soldiers started shooting, he says. I had a narrow escape. I saw monks being beaten. The protests were initially sparked by a huge fuel price increase imposed by the military government. But when one monk was publicly beaten to death at a rally in the town of Bakuku, it infuriated Ashin Kavida. I was an ordinary monk, he says, but then I heard about the death in Bakuku. I was surprised no monks came onto the streets. So I wrote to the other monasteries. We had a committee of 15 who organised the protests. The movement grew until this. The army cracked down, arresting hundreds, and Kavida fled for his life. The Myanmar army circulated wanted posters showing Kavida marching at the front of the demonstration. On the other side, allegations he plotted a bomb attack. Kavida denies it all, describing how he escaped into Thailand wearing a crucifix and changing out of his religious robes to disguise himself. Kavida says the United Nations must do more. Our blood is on the street, he says. Most of the monasteries are empty. I can't estimate how many people are in prison. When will the UN Security Council take action? The Buddhist faith has given monks like Ashin Kavida a quiet determination that eventually the military regime in Myanmar will be overthrown. But even he now admits that it may take many more years of pressure. He's risked his life to challenge the junta. Now he can only pray his people will find the courage to once again defy the army, and that another brave soul will lead them onto the streets.
CNN's Dan Rivers with that report, and we're hearing reports tonight that 100 monks marched today in the northern Burmese town of Bakuku, the scene of some protests last month.